Business returns to normal as Barbados is spared the worst of tropical storm Dorian. Barbadians warned to remain vigilant as the hurricane season is not over. Utilities work to restore power to areas impacted by outages. And in sports, the Windies make one change for this weekend's must-win second test against India.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
Good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Well, hours after the 5 a.m. all clear was announced, a sense of normalcy started to return across the island. Our Rianne Phillips has been making the rounds and tells us more in this report.
The majority of establishments in Bridgetown were ready to greet customers in keeping with the announcement that businesses would reopen at 10 a.m. However, a few were still closed. In Swan Street, employees were busy putting out many of their products on display. Many Barbadians who were in the city used the opportunity to complete their back-to-school shopping at stores like Abez and Cave Shepherd.
Business to me is like normal. Persons, I guess, after the weather was waiting to come and do their school shopping, knowing that we are coming down to the end of the summer vacation. So business is like normal for us here.
It started a little slow this morning. The first thing we did was to just ensure that our team was okay from the time we got the okay to trade. And obviously we had a little slowness in team coming to work, but everyone is on duty and we are ready to trade today.
We also visited the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex, where boat owners like Robert Gibson were expressing thanks that the island was spared.
This morning they give God thanks and praise for His mercies and His grace. Thank Him for His mighty hands of protection upon our boats and our fitness industry. He has been faithful once more to us. And as I was sharing this morning with our church member that God is not a Bajan, God is just God who He is, God of creation.
And as predicted by Met officials, the effects of Tropical Storm Dorian were still evident in some areas of the island today. Over in St. Philip, overcast skies, which were seen throughout the morning and the afternoon, were accompanied by rain. A team from the Barbados Light and Power was busy responding to reports of a leaning pole at Edgecombe. Meantime, officials from the Barbados Water Authority reported success in restoring service to several West Coast and Northern customers by bringing the Ionics desalination plant back online. The plant was shut down Tuesday night as a precautionary measure in anticipation of the passage of Tropical Storm Dorian. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Prime Minister Mia Motley is telling Barbadians they have a lot to be thankful for as the island is spared the worst of Tropical Storm Dorian. She made the comments this morning as the all clear was announced, giving the public the go-ahead to move about their business.
Less than 10 incidents have been reported, and they really all predominantly are fallen trees. There's only one instance of house roof, and not even a full damage.
Ms. Motley also warned the public not to drop their guard as the hurricane season still has a way to go.
This was early in the season for this, and we have to be conscious that we are not yet at November 30th, which is the end of the hurricane season. Indeed, we still have 3 full months to go. If ever there was a dry run in preparing ourselves, this effectively could be considered a dry run, and some may even say by the absence of the volume of rain that we had.
Emergency management officials received reports of several incidents during the passage of Tropical Storm Dorian. This is according to Director of the Department of Emergency Management, Kerry Hines.
In the parish of Christchurch, we had a fallen tree and fallen utility pole, down power lines. St. Andrew, fallen power line. 2 in St. George, fallen tree, 2 fallen trees. In St. John, we also had a fallen tree in Coach Hill. In St. Michael, there was a fallen wall in Black Rock, just across from the Chafet there. And in St. Peter, in French Village, there was a house, the roof, the galvanized started to lift from the particular roof, and there was flooding in the bathroom. The lady requested evacuation, and the police would have assisted with that. There were also two fallen trees one in Vault Road, St. Thomas, and one in Upper Canefield.
And a number of agencies responded to these reported incidents. Turned to hurricane shelters to ride out the tropical storm. That's according to Minister of Information, Broadcasting and Public Affairs, Senator Lucille Moe.
They had over 100 people that used the shelters. At the last count, it was 103. Things went smoothly. One or two very minor issues, but quickly resolved.
Well, thanks to personnel from the Barbados Defence Force, the highways leading to Bridgetown and other important government facilities were cleared of any debris following the passage of Tropical Storm Dorian. A CBC team of Damien Best and cameraman Christopher Wood joined a convoy of 4 Army vehicles after the operational clearance was announced just before 2 a.m. The vehicles departed the BDF's headquarters at the Garrison St. Michael and traveled via Waterford Bottom to Warrens, ensuring the roads were easily accessible to vehicular traffic. Now, the operational clearance allows utility companies to inspect their networks and the police and defence force to assess the readiness of the road infrastructure for the full reopening of the country to business. Sergeant Richard Morgan of the Defence Force says they remain prepared for any situation.
Some people were at work from as far back as Saturday morning, preparing for it. Some came in on Sunday. Everyone was in on Monday preparing for it. So once the place was on lockdown, patrols were deployed to as far as Darrell Jordan School, which would take care of the north and Paragon Base, and as well as St. Anne's Fort. Once the all clear was given for emergency services only, then the roads will be cleared from the airport to Warrens, from the airport to the QEH hospital, and from the north they'll be clearing from Darrell Jordan along the coastline to Whole Town and come up through to meet to Warrens as well as the main highway. Well, that is done in order to clear all the roads necessary, so if there's any emergency for persons to get to the hospital, then those roads are cleared.
And Sergeant Morgan also spoke about the personnel used when preparing for the passage of Dorian.
Basically, rescue teams, 2 rescue teams and 2 road clearance teams at all the bases, including Darrell Jordan Secondary. There's also mass casualty on standby in case anything is too serious, and there's also advanced medical post in case the Queen Elizabeth Hospital becomes overwhelmed. Then they will also act as medical personnel to assist with the country's needs.
Teams from the Barbados Light and Power Company were out from early this morning to attend to reported incidents of power outages across the island. Communications coordinator at the BL&P, Jennifer Blackman, in apologizing for the delayed service, stressed that they were only able to respond when they were comfortable all issues of safety surrounding their workers were resolved.
The faults were related to fallen trees, downed lines and blown fuses. For safety reasons, we were unable to respond to some of these faults during the worst of the weather, but as soon as we could safely dispatch our teams, we did. By 11 a.m. this morning, we had addressed half of the bigger issues. At present, our crews are still in the field dealing with the remaining situations. Pockets of customers in 8 parishes remain without electricity at this time. These parishes are St. Philip, St. Joseph, St. Andrew, St. Lucy, St. Peter, St. Thomas, St. Michael and Christchurch.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is resuming its outpatient clinics. Hospital officials say they will resume tomorrow following the passage of Tropical Storm Dorian. Patients with appointments scheduled for Monday, August 26th and Tuesday, August 27th who were affected by the closure will be contacted by the Medical Records Department to facilitate the rescheduling of their appointments. In addition to the resumption of the outpatients clinic, also effective tomorrow, Wednesday, August 28th, all elective surgical procedures will recommence, while urgent and emergency surgical procedures will continue to be facilitated. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital's pharmacy has also resumed normal operations. Well, Dominicans were in watch mode up to 4 this evening. Although weaker in intensity, Tropical Storm Dorian was still expected to dump a significant amount of rain over the flood-prone country. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt explained that as a result, Cabinet decided a national shutdown was the best option.
We have taken this decision, recognizing that we do not believe that there is any major threat or any threat to the country, but for us, the safety of our citizens and our residents is always paramount. And we do not want to have a situation where any persons or groups of individuals are unable to make it home because of rivers overflowing the banks or possible mudslides or landslides.
Well, St. Lucians have not been responding to official instructions to stay off the roads during a national shutdown. Prime Minister Alan Chasney ordered the island closed at 6 yesterday as they prepared for what was initially expected to be Hurricane Dorian. The system weakened considerably overnight and the all clear was issued around 10:30 a.m. Well, there were no reports of any major damage across the island, nor were there any lives lost. Police Commissioner Severin Moncheri says overall, while the response to emergency officials is getting better, not enough people are taking heed, despite being warned that anyone caught on the streets during the shutdown would be dealt with severely.
Normally, during the month of May, we would have a full assessment of all our stations, put in our needs for the stations, and every fortnight we would have reports from our station as to their state of readiness. Yesterday, prior to the pre-strike meeting, we had communication sent out to all our stations, and they did report that they were in a state of readiness.
Well, regarding the operations of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force during the event, Mr. Moncheri commended the Marine and Special Services Unit, both of which were called out to perform extra duties. He says the force was ready from very early.
Normally, during the month of May, we would have a full assessment of all our stations, put in our needs for the stations, and every fortnight we would have reports from our station as to their state of readiness. Yesterday, prior to the pre-strike meeting, we had communication sent out to all our stations, and they did report that they were in a state of readiness.
Meantime, Communications and Marketing Officer with the Water and Sewage Company, or WASCO, Sherry-Ann Gillard-Williams, says from all reports, their systems survived Dorian. She says management and technical staff met this morning to review the infrastructure and distribution systems, and the reports were positive.
Based on their initial assessment, based on their reports, we do know that our systems did not get any significant damage. We were spared, of course, the brunt of this tropical storm. So we are pleased to tell our customers that they will not be experiencing any sort of inconvenience due to water supply interruptions, because our systems are not damaged, have not received any damage during this weather system.
As Tropical Storm Dorian moved across the Windward Islands, it dumped copious amounts of rainfall across Martinique, triggering widespread flooding across the island. The center of the system passed between St. Lucia and Martinique, and torrential rains started as early as 4 in the morning. Districts in the south of the island were severely affected as 2 rivers in Riviere Pilot broke their banks and rushed through nearby communities. Videos circulating on social media show walls collapsing and even a bus caught in the flood waters. However, no casualties have been reported. Over to the Bahamas now. Teachers at a local public school say they will not be returning to the classroom come next week unless the school's principal is removed.
Just 1 week before the start of the new academic year, and teachers of the Carlton Francis Primary School say they will not be present the first day of class if the sitting principal, Olivia Daxon, remains.
The morale of the teachers is down and it's affecting the students. This is our concern here at Carlton Francis. And we are asking the Ministry of Education to please come here. After 2 years of ongoing letters back and forth to the director's office, to the superintendent's office, many teachers here have not signed their ACRs for the new school term. So these issues are ongoing and we need these issues to be solved before next week, Monday, when the kids come back.
According to teachers, there is a divide between staff members due to what teachers say has been unfair treatment by the principal in question.
Out of one classroom to another classroom is another major issue. Not confronting teachers as to moving, just saying you're moving here and you're moving there, not saying where we're moving. And those type of disrespectful behaviors are not tolerated here at the school. I have never seen disrespectful in all my life. And we are standing our ground and we're standing together to say, no, we are not going to tolerate it anymore.
While there seems to be a list of concerns as it relates to teachers and the principal, teachers allege that poor leadership skills and lack of respect tops the list. In speaking with our Eyewitness News team today, Director of Education Marcellus Taylor said that the grievances expressed by the teachers are not grave enough for her removal, and teachers should put the personalities aside and work it out.